This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back, everybody. Ever since we got together with her, we've learned so much about relationships, but specifically abusive relationships. Could be at the hands of somebody who's a narcissist, and on and on and on. She's actually written some amazing books called The Silent Abuse and, Reclaim Your Life Back. It's just so much insight. I will say this, though, that in the past, we kind of wrote on the negative, things to watch out for. People around here, you got to be careful. She's lived some challenges through that. Many of us have. But as a holistic healer that deals with trauma, we're going to flip the script today. And we're going to talk about the green flags in relationships, not the red flags. I'm trying to process that because normally we write on the negative, things to watch out for. She is our professional of the year, and she's an amazing life coach at SoulfullyWildHealing. Sherry Canino is back with us. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you, Steve?
You're making us think. So, I've got some ideas in my mind about the green flags in relationships. I want some of yours before we even begin. Get us in the zone.
So we do focus on the negative a lot. So I thought it would be encouraging, I think, even to the listeners to see, what are green flags? Like, am I seeing a green flag? Maybe I've met somebody and I'm skeptical because I've been in abusive relationships. So what would look like a green flag? And I'm going to dive into probably the most obvious, but also maybe something we'd be skeptical on is when, and it could be whether it's a guy or girl, right? So we're not like being gender specific, but if their words and their actions match.
Okay.
So often, on the toxic side, on the narcissistic abusive side, we talk about the love bombing and it's like, oh, you're so great and I love you and you're everything I ever wanted. But there's never follow through with you're saying this. Why don't you act like that? So to me, as a woman, what would that look like? What would a green flag look like? To me, a green flag would be not so much that you're telling me I'm great or, I'm something you just never could imagine to have in your life, but showing me. So men typically like to do acts of service. They want to be helpful. That is where men shine. That's where they feel masculine. That's one of the things that they want to do. So rather than being like, oh, I'm so great, how about when I ask you to help me with something, you actually show up? And not again, let's look at this a little deeper. Not just that you're showing up in a way you're not asking for anything in return.
I was just going to say unconditionally, showing up to help, whatever it may be. But I'm going to say at this moment, if I may, in my journey, I've seen this and figured, now I have different view on things. And of course, your green flags can change as life goes on. Yes. I feel that everybody in starting a new relationship should talk about the 5 love languages. What does it for you? What's your top 2, top 3? What about me? It gets you in the zone and you understand, because I may think, I might say maybe I love acts of service. Doesn't mean anything to me. I'll just tell you that right now. But let's say that's it. So I'm going to do it for you, but it might not mean anything for you. But I think, look at me, I'm doing this all for you. And you're like, that's great. I appreciate it. But I want to spend more time with you. I want more affection, all of that. What are your thoughts on the five love languages?
I would never tell anybody what my love language is.
Really?
I would, they're just like, if this person that I'm going to be with, and I just come out and tell them all my vulnerabilities, I'll
Hmm.
set myself right up because the minute that you tell them what you want, of course, a narcissist is going to do it for you in the beginning because that's a love bombing phase. So you're just making it super easy, but it won't last. So there, you do have to get to know the person, right? So obviously, maybe acts of service isn't your love language, but if the person is trying and the words are matching the actions, it's still going to make you feel cared about. Then you can go into, thank you so much for doing this for me, but whatever. I don't know if I would use but because then it kind of negates what they're doing.
Hmm.
But you can share a little more about what you like, what you want. And I do think that if somebody's being tentative and you're just talking, like let's say you're out for coffee or out for dinner,
Mhm.
what are you going to talk about as a man who's let's do this, let's do this. What are you going to talk about with that woman that you want her to know about you?
Processing this. What you want her to know about you. See, now I'm viewing this in a different way because I was on the five love languages. Like, tell me what you want because I want to be that person for you and I want to understand you better. But you have flipped it around, understandably so, to not show that card.
Not yet. Too early, not at the beginning.
Okay. All right. So when would be a safe time to get into that territory?
You know, I don't know, every relationship is going to develop in a
Yeah, yeah,
different way. So
yeah.
for myself, I'm super skeptical about everything. I'm super skeptical. I'm holding my cards very close.
Understood.
Um, and so I think naturally, for example, um, I'm going to naturally talk about my animals. I'm going to talk about stuff I love about them, things I do, things I do during the day. So somebody who wants to date me or who's, dating me or we're going out for dinner, or we're starting to get to know each other is going to know her animals are like it. Like this girl. So, he may find a way to do an act of service for me if that's his way of showing what he knows to show his love language
Could that
that's
be
going
could that be as simple as now that you revealed your animals are everything to you? Same with me. Maybe after that gets revealed, a little bit of time, not like the next day, red flag, um, or not, depends. But for me, now you got me on my guard. Maybe the next time you get together, he might, let's say you love your dog. He might show up with a cute, well thought out toy, right? And then you get together and say, oh, by the way, Sherry, this is for me to your dog. Tell him I can't wait to meet him someday. And just give it to you. Just a little something, something. It could be $7. Nothing extravagant, but just a little cute little acknowledgement of your love for your animal. Your thoughts on that? Does that feel good?
oh, definitely
Okay.
100%.
Hmm.
I'm thinking that also might say like if I was starting to date a guy and I knew like his dog was like a big deal to him, I'd be like, hey, you want to take your dog for a walk together?
Yeah. Yeah. Or get our dogs together.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's saying like if I didn't have dogs or something, but
Sure.
yeah, absolutely. So I think if the person is genuine, they're going to see those things. You're going to develop this relationship. You're going to develop camaraderie. You're going to get to the point where you will get deep and you can be more like, well, this really is my love language, like this X, Y,
Yeah.
and Z.
Well, I'm getting this, I'm viewing this in a different way. We call it the
Mhm.
love language. We put the label on it. It's really things that make you feel good, make you feel these are priorities. Your animals are. Your animals
Mhm.
are. So that's a priority and you're going to share that. Dating apps, they're almost, no, I wouldn't even suggest going there. 3 years ago, my personal opinion, it was okay. It was all right. 4 years ago, it was all right. It was all right. Now, dumpster fire, but that's, me and my friends, men and women say the same thing. However, it gets identified early on. So if I see a profile of a woman, she says, you know, I don't like cats. I'm allergic to cats. I swipe left, gonzo. I love my cats. That's just the way it is. And isn't it true, Sherry, as life goes on, you experience different things, we all have, that your boundaries go up and what's important to you shines. Like if you asked me like 4 years ago, I see somebody on a dating app, well, he's kind of cute, lives close by, blah, 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 doesn't like cats. Yeah, we'll work around that. No, not anymore. No. It's like you don't like Rocco. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's it. It's not going to work. And I'm sure you feel the
Exactly.
same way, right?
Oh, 1,000%. Now, on the flip side, if you're starting to date somebody and you want to find out if they're narcissistic,
Okay.
ask them what their love language is.
Hmm.
If their love language is either one, makes it sound like they want you to be their slave, they're very transactional. But a lot of them don't know what it is, so they have no answer and they will deflect it back to you
Interesting.
and
Hmm.
try to get you to respond and you to tell them your vulnerabilities so they can use them against you.
Wow. And those who are not plugged into this, not judging anybody, takes a journey. You may look at it as, oh, they care about me more than them. But in this situation, as you describe, it's because they don't have a baseline, so they're going to throw it back to you.
Yeah. And all the profilers will tell you really listen. What are they telling you? When you don't know somebody, what are they telling you? What
Yeah.
are they telling you that they want you to think about them? So
Hmm.
if they come out and they're like, oh, I did this job over here and I was like the top dog and I ran it and I know how to do all these things. Be a little skeptical because most men, even who are very good at their jobs, don't run around bragging about it. It just goes without saying.
Hmm. Because they're
They're
complete and
humble.
confident in themselves. Do
Yeah.
you feel that people truly reveal themselves in the very, very beginning?
Yes.
Same.
You'll
You,
see the red flag. Our biologically we want to connect. Biologically, we want to find a partner, a mate. Um, you know, and not, I know like same gender or whatever, but it doesn't matter because biologically we want to connect with a mate for procreation. I mean, that's just how our bodies are wired, even if
that's
we
why we're
decide that,
here. That's why,
yes.
like,
Well, it's like we are mammals. So just like any animal, in the animal world, no matter how advanced. So we will cover up in our minds those, the red flags so that we can continue, especially if we feel like, oh, I like this person. They're very attractive. They're so, whatever, fill in the blank because it's different for everybody. Um,
Mm.
and we have to learn not to do that. So, a really good question to ask rather than to ask, especially I'm gonna, I really only have from the woman's point of view. So, from a woman dating a man, uh, one of the questions that I would ask is I would not ask them, like, what job do you do or whatever. It's just too easy for them to answer. I would say, how do you spend your days? How do you spend your days? So
Open, wide,
open-ended.
wide. Yeah. Mm. Mm.
Is the guy like, well, I go to work and, blah, 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 whatever he might want me to think about him at his job. And then, on the way home from work, I go to the bar. Well, no thanks.
Mm.
I don't want a drinker. I'm out.
Maybe to phrase it in a different way, because how do you spend your days? I would wonder where that is, but if it, change it to what's an average day like for you? Just a different
Exactly.
word because now it seems like it's a little less, it's disarming. What's a
Yes.
typical day like? So, most people say, well, I go to work, da, da, da. But those other things that they spice in there, I
Mhm.
go home and I walk my dog, and maybe go to the gym. I want to go back to and I love that. I'm going to save that one. That one got saved in my mind, as most of this does. The people revealing who they are. As I look back on my life, it was all there, and I didn't choose to listen to it. Here's an example. I was just out of a relationship, challenging relationship. I met somebody. This is way back, and they were married, and they revealed that they had just come back from vacation with their best female friend. So now we're talking about two women here. Female friend was married, and they revealed, yeah, when we were away, we kind of like hooked up together and cheated on our husbands with each other. Just our husbands are boring. Well, me at that time, this person was younger than me, and I was coming out of, I was a little vulnerable. So, typical man. I'm going to say, cool. Like at that moment, like, hey, whatever. Fast forward a number of years, what did that person ultimately turn out to be? A cheater
Cheater.
and a cheater and a cheater. Hit it well, fooled everyone, not just me, everyone. Had a dark side, like just mind blowing, mind blowing.
Yes.
I bring this up and I'm transparent because it was there in the beginning. I chose not to listen to it. It was there.
Yes.
And then as I think back to another relationship and another, it was all there too. They said who they were. We don't listen. We don't listen. We want to hear what we want to hear, right?
hmm And we crave that connection. So there's usually, if this person is toxic, if we dig deep, excuse me, into our past and our childhood,
Hmm.
where are we seeing something similar that told us this is what love is?
That's a great point you bring up. Start with their childhood because those are the answers right there. And in the person that I'm referring to, what it turned out to be, as I traced it all back, they had issues with their father. Obviously, he didn't give them what they needed. So, what would that person do? Looking for it, looking to fill that void, cheat. Maybe it's this one, maybe it's that one, maybe it's that one. They could have the most wonderful life, but not feeling fulfilled because of childhood. So, in a very careful way, to ask that question, hey, what's up with your mom and dad? How they doing? Oh, I got divorced a long time ago. I'm not going to say that's a red flag. It's a point of concern. divorce is unfortunately very common, but it's like, all right, maybe just one yellow light, little tiny light there. All right, let's go a little bit deeper. You still talk to your dad? Nah, we're estranged. Oh, okay. It's almost like a fact-finding mission.
It is. And I think another big one is to see what the new person has to say about their exes. Because
Mm,
if they're going to bash their exes,
yeah.
it takes two to tango. We all know that, right? And we also know people who are very toxic or highly narcissistic do not take accountability. So if the first thing out of their mouth is, oh, either one, they don't want to talk about anything,
Mm,
or two, that they want to be like, it wasn't my fault. Nothing was my fault. They were terrible. You know, well,
hmm Yep.
I got
Uh,
that from both the last, my husband, oh, his wife was terrible and like, she was a cheater. And that was where then he was like, so I cheated. Why didn't I listen to that? That was that was him telling me who he was. And just like you said, yep, cheated
wow.
on him.
So he was done wrong. So he's going to do wrong with that. Wow. Mm.
If she actually even cheated. Like if
Well,
she actually, they project everything, right? So they say that the other person did it. But the thing about narcissists, and I don't know psychopaths, but a lot of different cluster B, but narcissists for sure, they always tell on themselves. They always tell on themselves. So you just got to listen. You got to be open to listening to it.
yeah. It be just what you said before, where we're driven. We want what's a number one thing anybody wants? To be loved. It just in general, loved by your dog. Like it doesn't matter. You want to feel it. So you push all those things aside. And it's almost as in our brains, we do the scale. I call it the scale of life. Well, this is a little concerning, but the other part is great, and that's great, and that's great. Just push that one off. I'm not going to worry about that because look at all these other great things I have here. And maybe it'll turn out okay, but you can't ignore something that you already thought of or was revealed,
Right.
you know?
And I want to just really quick touch it back to like what we were talking about, like you with your cats, and just again, what I said in the beginning, that the actions and the words match. So my ex, literally, I have a pug. And when we met, oh, I always wanted a pug. That's what I wanted when I was sick, a little boy, and I didn't get it. I got a cat instead, blah, 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 whatever. What are the odds? Like, this is not like just him saying, like, I wanted a dog, or you're a little kid. Do you even really know what a pug is? I wouldn't have. Come on now, right? So I should have seen that. But saying you love these kind of animals and then seeing him with my dog, like we would be out in public and all of a sudden he's like putting his whole hand over her face and like mushing her face. I'm like, what are you doing? Get your hand off my dog's face. I'm like, I'm about to throw down, I'm like, so again, words and actions matching. Because if somebody tells you, a woman tells you, I absolutely love cats, and then she comes in and she's like pushing the cat away when it's rubbing up against her, like, get away from me. Don't touch me. I don't want, oh, I got my good clothes on. Are you kidding me? I'm like, give me that cat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if I
Mm-hmm.
got black on and the cat's white and I go to dinner with all fur all over me. I don't care. You
That
know what
that
I
is a really
mean?
good test. That is a good test. Just let your animals interact with them. Like I know if you don't like my cat Rocco, something's up with you. Like you walk in, he jumps up on the counter, he goes like this. He's like like a little kid going uppy, uppy, pick me uppy. He just wants to hug you, and then he's like in your face. He drools a little bit, but that's what he's happy. But that's if I see somebody that doesn't think that's cute, I don't judge you. No problem. You're not a cat person. Maybe not for me. That's it.
Exactly. But if a woman loves you, it doesn't matter if they grew up with cats they're going to love that animal because you love that animal. And they're going to treat that animal the way that they would treat you.
And I'm going to just say, just cut some slack, assuming the animal's a good animal. Like if somebody's in a relationship with somebody else and wants to care about that person, feels it, but you got an animal so biting at your ankles and just no, I'm talking about just most animals are good. Some of them have behavioral issues. If there's a reason, but if it's a good animal, again, most are. I don't think there's any bad animals. It's just their behavior. But usually, where does that come from? The person that's got them.
And usually animals are the telltale sign.
Ding. Yeah.
So if your animal, and I don't care what it is, doesn't like the person that you're trying to date.
Listen. Yeah, 100%. So much great insight here. Glad we flipped the script a little bit. Your books, coaching, all available on your website. How do we find you?
SoulfullyWild.com.
Thank you for today, Sherry.
Thank you, Steve.
It validated stuff for me. I learned stuff and all good. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. You have a great day.
You too.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals. This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.